Morning and welcome to this heritage lecture today. We welcome all members of the Department of Radiation Oncology, all my teachers, and all the colleagues and team members who have helped in this department for so many years. I'll request Dr. Ravindran to start with a word of prayer.
Shall we pray? Jesus called all 12 disciples and gave them power and authority over demons and cure the diseases. Lord, this time we remember the word that you have given in Luke chapter 9:1. And we thank you in your presence, and we are very much grateful the way that you have led us as a radiotherapy family, O Master. Thank you, Jesus, for your sweet presence in this morning. Thank you for all the pioneers worked in the department, and currently those staff and students who are working here also. We commit everybody into your mighty hands, Lord. As the speakers are going to present on various topics, Lord, the legacy and history of the radiotherapy department, and also the embracing the present and the shaping of the future, all the titles, oh Lord, you have given to us, oh Master, as they are presenting, oh Lord. We seek your presence and guidance be upon all the speakers and all the listeners also, Lord. Let everything be done for the glory of God. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, sir. So I think with the institution seeing historic landmarks of 100 years and then 125 years next year, Dr. Ebi and his team and others have thought of these lectures called as heritage lectures. Now, when you look at heritage, the other meaning is actually passing on something, just like we have passing on the torch for other reasons. But this is more passing on a history, passing on things that we can't sometimes document, some things that we felt and that made us people that we are today. So today, the Department of Radiotherapy, we also call Radiation Oncology, will be sharing their legacy. I can see many generations here, starting from some of my own teachers, Dr. Raul. My teachers were Dr. Faith, Dr. P.V. Vishwanathan, Dr. Raul, Dr. Subhashini John, and I'm sure it was teachers for many of your teachers now. I can see all the PGs here. So I think already, in a way, as we stand here, there's a lot of passing on the torch happening. But this very special lecture will also add value to whatever is being done in your department and also for posterity. And all these series will be recorded. So I think please do encourage everyone to look at them, look at other departments, because I think the ethos, the rich heritage and culture that we share of our institution will just be reflected. And it's so inspiring. And we all need to be inspired again and again. By God's grace, you're all here today, but people have gone before us, people will come after us. And we need to preserve what the institution and your department holds dear. So I'll hand over to Dr. Thomas, who's the moderator for today.
Dear friends and respected teachers, a very good morning and a warm welcome to all of you who are here in this audience, and also all of you who have joined virtually. And I'd like to thank our administration, Dr. Ebi, Dr. Soumya, for this opportunity and a privilege this morning. I think this heritage lecture of Ida B. Scudder Cancer Center, the Department of Radiation Oncology, I think is more of a moment for thanking God. As institution is celebrating 100 years of this campus, we are on the threshold of 125 years of our institution. And coincidentally, we are also the 85th year of our department. So it is an honor to stand before all of you today as we gather to reflect on our journey, celebrate our present, and envision a future filled with promise. So as we just heard briefly, a theme honoring the past, embracing the present, and shaping the future, it perfectly encapsulates the essence of this historical occasion for us. Over the past 85 years, our department, in fact, Dr. Raul, Dr. Banerjee are here, they will agree to this, have been like a mothership which has enabled the development of other subspecialties in non-surgical oncologies in this institution. And we continue to be a beacon of innovation and dedication in this field of radiation oncology nationally and globally. So as we pause, we honor the legacy of our founder, Dr. Ida Scudder, and her niece, who was a founder, Dr. Ida B. Scudder, who established the department in 1937. So as we embrace the present, we recognize the advancements and achievements that continue to define our department and our institution. I'm blessed to have a dedicated team of professionals in our department and who are providing state-of-the-art compassionate care using the latest technology, cutting-edge relevant research, and is a testament to our ongoing commitment to excellence. So as we celebrate our lives, I think we have touched and the hope we have brought to countless patients. And in this process, we ourselves feel transformed in this journey. So looking ahead, we are inspired to shape the future of radiation oncology. Our vision is to push the boundaries of what is possible, what is not possible, to innovate and to lead with the compassion and expertise. And together we will continue to make strides in fighting against cancer, ensuring the rich legacy we have been handed over by our founders, our teachers, so that this legacy continues for many more years and generations to come. I now invite my esteemed colleagues, Dr. B. Selvamani, Dr. Paul Ravindran, who's joining on Zoom from Dimapur, our teacher, our generation, Dr. Timothy Peace, Dr. Balu Krishna, who will be taking us through this amazing journey. And I'd like to thank all of you again for being part of this celebration as we honor our past, embrace our present, and shape a future filled with hope and healing. Thank you and God bless. I invite our first speaker, Dr. Selvamani, to come forward.
Good morning, everybody. I thank and praise God for the opportunity to look at the legacy and heritage of our department. Thus far, the Lord has helped us. We thank the Lord for He is good. From the humble beginning in 1939, over a period of 85 years, the Department of Radiation Oncology has evolved to flourish as a treatment, training, and research center in tandem with the growth of this discipline. Dr. Ida Scudder and Dr. K. Deenshaw were two iconic women who shaped the face of radiation oncology in India. Dr. Deenshaw was our MBBS alumni, worked with Dr. Padam Singh and Dr. A.D. Singh as senior resident, went on to train in UK and moved to TMH Mumbai. I did not work with the three pioneers, but had the opportunity to train under Dr. Raul, Dr. Faith, Dr. Vishwanathan, Dr. Subhashni John, and Dr. Reena George. Dr. Ida B. Scudder came to Vellore as a medical missionary in 1931 after completing her medical training. She performed many roles in this institution, including teaching anatomy and embryology, practicing general medicine, pediatrics, ENT, and obs and gynae. She was moved by the plight of large number of poor cancer patients for whom very minimal treatment was available at that time. She decided to go for training in both diagnostic and therapeutic radiology. She returned to India after training in New York, studying with Edith Wimby, Kaplan, and then in London and Cambridge. She treated her first patient on 23rd December 1939 using radium needles. She worked on acquiring superficial and deep X-ray kilovoltage therapy units in 1940s, radiotherapy ward with 30 beds in 1957, and the first cobalt machine in 1961. She also started the DMRT course and CMI Diploma Radiotherapy Technology course in 1964. After her retirement, she returned to CMC for the Golden Jubilee celebrations at the age of 89 in the year 1989. A concern and outlook in life was in the following order: God first, others second, and self last, thus leading a true Christian life. Dr. Solomon Padam Singh was the head of RT department for 9 years. He improved the infrastructure of the department, developed an excellent department library, and constructed a heart lab in the basement of Radium Theatre. In 1970, Dr. Carl von Essen presented a set of Henschke brachytherapy applicators to the department. Dr. Padam Singh, along with Dr. Cyril Jayachandran, performed the first iridium implant for lip cancer in 1973. Another Tembley Cobalt and RT simulator as a gift from Hammersmith Hospital were installed during Dr. Padam Singh's tenure. He strived for precision and perfection in radiotherapy, which made all the staff to achieve high standards. Dr. Atar Dio Singh, AD Singh, a successor of Dr. Padam Singh, performed many radium implants for carcinoma of tongue and buccal mucosa, also single plane iridium 192 implants. He developed an indigenous manual device for thyroid uptake studies. A second simulator and first computerized TPS TherPack were installed during Dr. A.D. Singh's tenure. He was deeply involved in the design and planning of our RT block. He initiated the Dr. I.W. Scudder Prize. He developed a nice garden in our ward, and he was a lover of flowers and plants. After his retirement, he established RT department in 3 colleges, and he was bestowed with the prestigious Dr. B.C. Roy Award by Government of India in 1985. Dr. Ravindran Kumar Rao trained abroad in brachytherapy, and he developed to another level in CMC. I've seen him do radioactive implant using active cesium needles once. After that, I have not worked with preloaded brachy. Intraluminal brachy for carcinoma esophagus was started in 1988. He showed keen interest in preventive oncology and played a major role in conducting outreach programs of the department. Dr. Faith Rangad Vishwanathan has always been compassionate, highly competent, continually setting high standards for her colleagues and students. Dr. Faith was an innovative academician and researcher, ever willing to share her ideas. She has been instrumental in starting stereotactic radiosurgery and stereotactic radiotherapy in 1995, along with Dr. V. Rajshekhar, Dr. Vedantam Rajshekhar, and Dr. Paul Ravindran. Her persistent efforts helped in acquiring the variant simulator and various immobilization accessories in the department. Dr. P.N. Vishwanathan is remembered for his unparalleled knowledge of human anatomy and radiation physics, which forms the basis of his discipline of radiotherapy. His attention to detail is well known. Recognizing the needs to help patients from community hospitals, he initiated the peripheral cancer clinic at Rusa. He also recognized the need for a follow-up clinic at Shillong and put systems in place for a follow-up clinic at Gordon Roberts Hospital, which is being followed even now. He made the initial protocol for TBI in the 90s. Dr. Subhashini John, a competent, compassionate physician with the ability to multitask successfully. It was during her headship that the department assured the era of modern radiotherapy with conformal radiotherapy techniques. With the help of Asha Grant, the department transitioned to the use of HDR, high dose rate, remote afterloading brachytherapy. She not only appreciated hard work and encouraged potential talent, but also nurtured and built up several leaders for the future. To install the second linear accelerator, another bunker was created below the existing 3-story building of RT block. With a step of faith, the challenge of removing the pillar to make space was undertaken. In 2017, when the department became site specialized, we were the 3 heads of units, myself, Dr. Simon Paumani, and Dr. Thomas Samuel Ram, who's the current head. Keeping a vigilant eye on doses and distributions, the medical physicists are an important member of the team. They check on the treatment plans and the radiation output of the machines. They also take responsibility for the safety of the workers dealing with radiation and radioactive material. Our first physicist, Dr. Cyril Jayanchandran, joined the department in the 1950s. Dr. Cyril and Dr. Vittal Rose retired from service before I joined the department. Dr. Paul Ravindran, Dr. Rabi Raja Singh and Dr. Brinda taught me radiation physics, and Dr. Paul will talk on the developments in medical physics. The technologists are well-trained, reliable, and dedicated members of the team, forming the backbone of the radiotherapy practice. Dr. Jairaj Thomas was our first radiotherapy technologist, rendered 34 years of service. He established a good mold room. He was a great administrator. Mrs. Kanti Dorairaj joined the department at the age of 16. She was excellent in doing manual calculations for treatment and in doing many manual isodose distributions, and she taught many people. Mr. Annamale, our electrician engineer, maintains sophisticated machines such as Betatron, telecobalt machines, units, linear accelerators, and simulator. The Siemens and telecobalt engineers used to take advice from him, as he was very well versed with managing the machines. Mrs. Shantakumari David was Harvard department sister who used to spend a lot of time at the bedside and used to know the family background of all the patients apart from their medical needs. Mrs. Shantakumari Theodore and Mrs. Rosaline Renius followed the footsteps of Mrs. Shantakumari David. RT family included our support staff as well, and we grew in numbers over the years. In tracing the journey of our department, we have seen how it grew from its humble beginnings, overcame challenges, and achieved milestones that have shaped our identity today. The Radonc department is highly technology dependent. Brachytherapy or internal radiation was initially done using active radioactive sources directly placed in the body cavities of patient for a calculated duration. When I joined the department, we followed manual afterloading technique where applicators were placed under anesthesia in theater, but the radioactive sources were loaded in the safety of our ward. From 2007 onwards, we used the remote afterloader where no personnel received any radiation. Initially, the department had only kilovoltage machines, deep and superficial X-ray units, which delivered higher doses to the skin and superficial structures. The first treatment with deep X-rays was carried out for a patient with leukemic infiltrates of both parotids in 1940. We went on to have telecobalt machines, the latest in 2016, and now we have sophisticated linear accelerator. As in the interim, we even had Betatron, which is Southeast Asia's first machine in 1978. It was high maintenance and it worked for some time, and after that, we had to replace it with our linear accelerator. Simulators are machines where we do the planning for the treatment. In all aspects, they are similar to the treatment machine. We now have moved from 2D simulators to 4D capability CT simulators in both the campuses. Same way, our treatment planning systems were also upgraded over time. The first SRS was carried out on 20th June 1995, the year I joined for MDRT. The delivery and TPS have had many upgrades over time. We treated more than 2,000 patients with frame and more than 100 patients by frameless method. One of the other technological advancement is doing total body radiation or total marrow lymphoid radiation as a conditioning for bone marrow transplant. We also, all three units offer a stereotactic body radiotherapy to lung, liver, bone, and prostate. First cycle of chemotherapy was administered in 1964 by legends such as Dr. Carl von Essen, a visiting radiation oncologist, Dr. LBM Joseph, surgeon, Dr. GT Simon, dentist, and by Dr. Padam Singh and Dr. A.D. Singh. And there was a publication which came out in 1968. The first radioiodine therapy was also administered during the same year. Now, we have many machines and we practice in both main and Ranipet campuses. RT department became a separate unit in 1957. Nuclear medicine branched off as a department in 1992. Medical oncology and palliative care emerged as specialties in the year 2002 and 2004 respectively. In 2017, RT department reorganized into 3 units on the basis of subspecialization. As the dedication of medical oncology unit and dedication of 3 radiation oncology units. This shows the milestones of education. PhD in medical physics was started in 1986. BSc in radiotherapy technology and MSc medical physics was started in 2011, and PhD in radiation oncology added in the year 2023. As department, we have conducted many conferences. Noteworthy are In 2010 and 2024, we conducted the State ROI Conference. And in 2014, it was Platinum Jubilee year, and we had a conference to celebrate the Platinum year. The research done in the department has translated into many publications. Dr. Ida B. and Dr. A.D. Singh have published in the 1950s, and the number of publications from the department increased steadily over the years. The recent increase is remarkable since the time of subspecialization. There are some of the publications, these are some of the publications in the high impact journals. Dr. Balu Krishna will certainly talk about the AI research in the department. Dr. Ida B. Skada reached out to the community. The outreach activities such as screening, medical camp, and health education are being done even today. We closely work with mission hospitals with RT facilities such as Ambalikai, Fodder Hospital, Bangalore Baptist Hospital, and Dimapur Center. We used to have tumor boards with RDT Madanapalli and follow-up clinic in Roberts, Shillong. The rich heritage is not just a strong, not just a story of the past. It's the foundation upon which the current and future endeavors of our department stand. Each step we have taken has brought us closer to the forefront of innovation, compassion, and excellence in patient care. We as department go for picnics and retreats regularly. The staff of department go caroling to houses, especially to retired staff houses each year during Christmas season, a tradition started by Dr. Abhiraja Singh. In one of the Harvard functions, we see Dr. Bhushnam and her sister who donated for the expenses of this celebration. We would like to give all glory to Jesus, whose power, love, and compassion is at work in us, as is evident in the journey of our department. I wish to acknowledge all those who contributed towards the presentation, the photographs, and helped in Dr. Rajesh B. for helping in making the presentation. As we reflect on the past, let us now look ahead. I am honored to pass the stage to Dr. Paul, who will speak on behalf of Medical Physics team. Let us continue to honor history by forging the future that brings even greater achievements and impact. Thank you. God, Emmanuel is with us.
Good morning, everyone. I would like to thank Dr. Thomas and his colleagues for giving me this opportunity to talk on the history and legacy of medical physics at CMC Vellore. Dr. Ida B. Skada treated her the first or the second, but the chart says it is the second patient, as you can see here. The chart says it's a therapy number 2, and as Dr. Selvamani said, it is on 23rd December 1939. I would like to bring your focus on to this particular picture on the screen, where Dr. Skada has arranged the radium sources, probably to give a uniform dose over the lesion. Present day, we use very sophisticated computer to do the same thing. And she has done all on her own, and she has beautifully drawn it on the chart itself. In 1940, 2 X-ray machines for external beam radiation, one deep and another superficial X-ray machines were added. And Dr. Skada calibrated these with the Victorian odometer that measured radiation delivered in Röntgen. The first superficial treatment was treated on 21st June 1940. This was the 3rd patient. And Dr. Skada was not only the first radiation oncologist, but she was also the first medical physicist. She decided on the geometry to place radium to deliver a uniform dose. She calibrated the superficial and deep X-ray therapy unit, which now only very qualified physicists are allowed to do. Cyril Jayachandran, who was a bachelor in physics at the time and was working in radiology, saw Dr. Scudder doing some measurements with the deep and superficial X-ray machine with the dosimeter. He offered himself to help, and he took on the responsibility of calibrating and measuring the radiation output for these two machines. And Dr. Patterson, who was the radiologist at the time, asked him to spend full time with Dr. Scudder, as he found him to be very useful with Dr. Scudder. In 1958, those two units were replaced with newer superficial and deep X-ray units. And Dr. Cyril Jayachandran, for the first time, plotted isodose charts for these ones manually using the Cumby method. Those days, there was no idea of how the isodose charts would look like. In 1961, under a Colombo plan, a cobalt unit, AECL cobalt unit, was given to CMC Vellore. There were 3 cobalt units, as I was given to understand. One of them was in Adayar, one was somewhere in Calcutta, and the third one was given to CMC Vellore. This one had a mercury shutter. When this was removed and the head was left there, even after I joined, we dismantled and I could get the mercury and save it for us in the lab. It housed a 5,000 curie cobalt source. Subsequently, this was replaced with the Eldorado 8 vertical unit. As Dr. Selvamani said, the first isocentric cobalt unit, Teratron 60, was installed in 1964. This was a 60 centimeter SSD unit, which shorter SSD, and they tried to do SAD technique with this. As you know, the distance between the patient and the collimator was so close, there were a lot of skin reaction. At the time, Mr. Shepard, who had done his master's in physics from American College and also had training in Brisbane for about 6 months, joined Dr. Cyril as a physicist. Both of them together introduced rotation therapy with this isocentric unit for the first time in those days, which considerably reduced the skin reaction. One Dr. Morrison, who was from Hammersmith Hospital, was visiting radiotherapy department and CMC. He found the work of Dr. Cyril to be very impressive, and then he offered him a training for 6 months to Hammersmith Hospital. When Cyril went to Hammersmith Hospital, he met Dr. Fowler, one of the well-known radiobiologists, and at the time he was doing dosimetry with lithium borate TLD material. He offered Cyril Jayachandran to do his PhD under him. He himself wrote to the administration of CMC and got his study leave extended for him to complete the PhD there. Cyril Jayachandran completed PhD and came back as Dr. Cyril Jayachandran to CMC and continued to work in radiotherapy department. He was still not comfortable with the skin reaction that was happening with Teratron 60, and he did a very innovative experiment with that. Those days, we had cobalt 60 brachytherapy sources, 2 centimeter sources. He kept 2 of them in the collimator in the place where the actual source will be, and measured the scatter from it using a spectrometer that he hired from the isotope lab. And he looked at the spectrum of the radiation that was coming out and found that low energy photons and electron were much higher. And he designed a filter to filter off those low energy photons, which in brass. This filter was there even when I joined, and even I had used it. And he made a small write-up about it in British Journal of Radiology, which was published in 1976. One of the innovative things Dr. Cyril did at that time was, we used to do treatment planning manually on a white paper where the patient contour was drawn and the radiation oncologist will draw the tumor volume, but we had no idea about what other organs were getting radiation. Those days, there were no CT scans, no MRI. Dr. Cyril actually took an anatomy book, took photographs of all the cross sections that were available and made slides. And he made a table with a transparent sheet and kept the contour on that and projected the slide onto the contour and adjusted the magnification to fit the contour of the patient. Now, when he drew the isodose curves, there was a clear idea of what was the dose to various other organs. It may not be as perfect like patient-specific now we do, but imagine the days when we did not have a CT scan or an MRI, how innovative was Dr. Cyril to develop this very simple table for treatment planning. 1973 was a very important year in the history of radiotherapy, as we got the first 42 MV Betatron, and it was the first electron beam in India. BRC scientists used to march to CMC Vellore to do research on this electron beam those days. Dr. Cyril was sent to Germany to have training on calibration of this. On his return, he calibrated this with IAEA protocol. Dr. Ravindran, another well-known physicist in India, was staff when CMC at the time was helping Dr. Cyril in calibrating this Betatron. This is an interesting slide that I wanted to show. This is the weekly news published in 1973. Those days, we used to get the weekly news on cyclostain paper, not like what you get now. And I will just read what it says. The Betatron will be dedicated to the glory of God and for the service of man on Wednesday, 5th April 1973. And the chief guest will be Dr. Aida Biskada, the founder of our radiation therapy department. You can see Dr. Aida Biskada here and Dr. A.D. Singh with the patient. And this Betatron worked not for very long. During early 80s, it stopped working, about 83 or something. But the administration kept the Betatron, hoping to revive it. When I joined, I only had the chance of getting it dismantled at the time. But I could see radiation coming out when one of the engineers who tried to work on it, and he gave a report on what need to be changed on this. But Siemens at the time said it will cost about 35 lakhs, if I remember, and Siemens was willing to give a linear accelerator for less than 1 crore. So admin decided to replace this with a linear accelerator. Dr. Cyril was a multitasking person. He moved from radiotherapy, actually took over isotope lab, Dr. Aida Biskada isotope lab. Administration made him head of the isotope lab at the time. He developed a radiopharmacy section there with the laminar flow and other equipment. And he also brought one refurbished gamma camera from Australia, which was the first gamma camera in nuclear medicine. And this is the one you see. Even after I joined, it was working. I could see that gamma camera working there. In 1981, Mr. Vittal Raj Roos and Dr. Victor Raj, who were staff at the medical college physics department, were transferred to radiotherapy department. At the physics department, the college was closed. Mr. Vittal Raj Roos was in radiotherapy and Dr. Victor Raj was in radiology department. Mr. Roos was sent to BRC for a training for 3 months so that he could be the radiation safety officer in radiotherapy department. One of the major contributions of Mr. Roos was that he established a new dosimetry method called FPX chemical dosimeter at CMC Vellore. He obtained a research grant from Atomic Energy Regulatory Board to perform this chemical dosimetry research. I joined on the 2nd January 1986. Though I had a master's in physics, I was given the job mainly because I had a diploma certificate in computer programming, and that was the year they got the TheraPack computerized treatment planning system. This was the second computerized treatment planning system in India. Neither me nor anybody had an idea of how to use that. Luckily, we had a computer person who was from US working in the accounts department. He powered it on for us, set it up and powered it on. But the treatment planning part of it, we had to commission it. Since I was new, I took help from our technology friends, like our manual computer, we used to call her manual computer planner, Mrs. Kanti Doraraj, Mr. Bernard, Mr. Gopal. All of them taught me what is treatment planning, and we could commission this within 6 months for patient treatment planning. Ravindran Singh joined us after the retirement of Dr. Cyril Jayachandran. He was a great support in dosimetry, particularly for the radiosurgery program, which we started at the time. He did his PhD under my guidance. He developed a radiosurgery collimator for cobalt unit and also designed a prototype MLC for cobalt unit. For this, he received grant from Board of Research in Nuclear Sciences, and he also got a Best Paper Award in our association for his research work. This was actually a golden year for us when we started the radiosurgery and radiotherapy department. You can see Dr. Rajshekhar, Dr. Faith, and me doing the planning. We three were sent to Boston to get trained on this, and we started this in June 1995. And we are just 1 or 2 days later than Apollo Chennai to start this program in India. This was 3D gel dosimetry, which we started in CMC Vellore after I learned it in Canada. At that time, Miss Brinda joined as a physicist. She was interested and she was a great support in getting this gel dosimetry established in radiotherapy department. She also did her PhD on the same subject, that is gel dosimetry, under my guidance, and successfully completed the same. This is one thing which is very close to my heart. That is, we made a protocol for total body radiation, which was so perfect that we could get so many other institutions to come and see and learn from us. This was with the help of physics and radiation oncologists. This was done. I would like to just bring your attention to this couch, which is quite interesting. This couch actually belongs to the Betatron. After Betatron was dismantled, we moved it to El Dorado. And then one of the technologists, I think it's Mr. John Christopher, who suggested, why not we have this here so that we can change the SSD when we do the total body radiation. We used to call it a couch on rails, and we used it for total body radiation. Coming to education, in 2004, we started a 2-year residency program in medical physics, the first of its kind in India, which is similar to what people were doing in North America, in US and Canada. The first 2 residents are very senior physicists in your department, Dr. Finlay and Dr. Ebenezer. Dr. Ebenezer also did his PhD in gel dosimetry under my guidance and successfully completed the same. We had to discontinue the program as we started MSc Medical Physics, a 3-year program with 1-year internship. You can see the change in the number of physicists from 2010 to 2015. I'm sure now the frame will not hold with the number of physicists there. We also did significant amount of research and publication in physics, starting from Mr. Rose, who got a grant for the chemical dosimetry, and subsequently Dr. Victor Raj and Dr. Roshan in radiology got quite a few grants, and Dr. Ravindran Singh and myself from Atomic Energy Regulatory Board, BRNS. We also got grant from DRDO. We also got a FIST grant for medical physics from DST, and Timothy and myself had a grant from IAEA on quality assurance. Unless the Lord builds the house, the builders labor in vain. We did what we could, but God did what was needed. Just to give an acknowledgement before I say thank you, several pieces of the information in the earlier slides here were derived from a personal letter written to me by Dr. Cyril Jayachandran. Thank you very much for your patient listening.
Thank you, Dr. Paul, for enlightening us the history and legacy of medical physics. And as we continue the next lecture on embracing the present, shaping the future of medical physics, I would like to highlight more on the technology part, on what we have now. Many of the slides were shown by Dr. Selvamani in her talk, and I would like to focus more on the future. So how the RT facility at Ranipet campus came is what we see in this slide. It's a big effort. I want to keep this in mind because it is a labor-intensive process which started almost 2018. Need to have tons of concrete, almost 7 feet of concrete to keep us safe from the radiation that comes from the bunker. So in 2019, the bunker was completed. 2020, just before COVID, the base plate was put, and then there was a big pause, and then the installation started one by one. So you can see there were endless of meetings. So one more thing is that the design of this new campus started way back, probably 2014. I remember the discussions between Dr. Paul and then Dr. Subhashni and then Selva ma'am and then Rabi sir. Then we all came into the picture, and then Dr. Simon was the person who was there who took us across the finish line. And so much of time was spent, and administration gave special permission to be there for almost 6 to 8 months before the treatment started, so that we could finish all our commissioning, installation, commissioning, and licensing work. And you can even see the superintendent of police of Ranipet was there to approve the security plan for the radiation sources, without which we wouldn't have got the clinical license for any of the facilities. And of course, it all culminated with the unveiling of the plaque there by Dr. James Taylor and the rest of the members of the CMC Vellore board. Little bit about how we have evolved. Yes, ma'am covered it very well. So this is just a summary in one slide. So you can see we moved from the days of cobalt, and this is how the distribution was, probably a slice of head and neck target. And you can see the spine getting the full dose, as well as the normal tissues. The parotids would have been fried in this. And then we see we moved on to 3D CRT. So the field intensity remains the same, but we get a better dose distribution. And then we moved on to IMRT, where the MLCs are moving and they give us a intensity map or a fluence, which helps us to get more conformal dose distributions. The increase in complexity was from static IMRT, which we started in 2005, dynamic IMRT in 2010, VMAT in 2016, and helical IMRT in 2022. So each of these things, you see the complexity increases because the leaves were moving in dynamic IMRT. In addition, the gantry was moving, and in helical IMRT, the couch was also moving. So this is how it all is now, and we are grateful to God for his gift and his resources, and for the people who thought so much in advance so that we could have a good future. One or two technologies that we have, I'd like to highlight with the help of these videos, is that we are able to address motion during the treatment, especially due to breathing. And you can see here that the surface guided radiotherapy system has got 3 camera pods, and you can see that it gives out light, and that which is reflected from the surface of the patient is able to reconstruct the surface of the patient, based on which we can track real time and we can have sub-millimetric accuracy. Recently, an award was received for patient-centric initiative for implementing open mask for head and neck. Of course, more awards also were there. Previous month, we had the CAHO award received by our department for AI research and development. Also, the Technology and Digital Transformation Award for becoming paperless. One more technology that we have is the BrainLab Exact Track Dynamic System, which is the first in India. And as you can see, it, in addition to the optical surface, which has 300,000 points, it also has the very novel thermal tracking camera, and together it combines to give the surface of the patient, so taking the heat signature of the patient, and it can track the patient real time. And this helps us to have sub-millimetric accuracy. And if there is any movement beyond, let's say, 0.5 mm, the treatment will stop, and we can then take X-rays and correct for the positional error and continue with very accurate treatment. So we'll move on to the second part, which is shaping the future. So basically, it is about having new technology. So as we advance in technology, we try out new techniques which will help the patient further. The goal of RT, which is to treat the tumor and spare the normal tissue, has been the same ever since probably the KV era. But the goal doesn't change, but the efforts to achieve it more effectively is still going on. And we are in one exciting phase where there are new features which we will try to unveil, and hopefully we will be able to have in the near or distant future. So we'd always go for greater conformity, faster treatment for the comfort of the patient, and higher treatment accuracy, which will lead to better treatment outcomes. Robotic treatment first started with the cyber knife. This is not the latest. It's been there, but something which we don't have. But you can see there is a robotic arm here, which houses the LINAC, and that can treat the tumor or the target with many angles, and it can focus the beam to a very small area, and it helps us to treat SRS, SRT, and SBRT. Newer machines are hitting the market. So you can see here that this is a Venus X Linatech machine, which has MLCs in both directions, unlike the current machines offer. And of course, it has state-of-the-art IGRT and SGRT. But the only red flag that we have is it's made in China. This is the ZAP technology. You can see here that this has a 3 MV Linac, and I will reduce that. It has a 3 MV Linac, and it has gantries which can move independently, and the Linac will be able to give many unique angles in a 2π geometry, up to 260 non-coplanar angles. You can see it's a self-shielded machine, and you can keep it anywhere we want, right from the reception, or I think nobody has kept it outside, because it has it's made of iron, and it makes sure that the leakage, the scatter is very less. Person, not even a radiation worker, a person from the public can stand within 1 meter, 1 meter of the machine, because it gives only 1 millisievert per year dose. So this is one of the new exciting things that are available in the market. The next thing in image-guided radiotherapy from Varian is the HyperSight, which currently FDA is approved for Ethos Halcyon machine. You can see on the right. And this is very exciting because it reduces the imaging time from 60 seconds to 6 seconds. So we know patients come with full bladder, or patients have to do breath hold, and all these make it very comfortable for the patient. Not only that, it reduces the motion artifacts, so we get much better image quality as with the conventional SBRT. It also has a very big detector, giving higher field of view. And interesting thing is the CBCT can be directly used for planning, so it can be useful for adaptive right away, and because of the accurate HU. What is the impact of emerging technologies in RT? So as the Olympic goal says, Citius, Altius, and Fortius, faster, higher, and stronger. We want faster treatment time, higher image resolution, maybe stronger and more robust systems. How can we achieve it? If you see, there's one more goal that has been added. One more goal that has been added, that is communitia, which means together. And as of an answer, we have the MR Linac from Elekta. So it's a revolutionary merger of two technologies, the Elekta Linac and the Philips MRI, which is known for its imaging. So you can see here that the MR magnet is brought right inside the Linac ring, and this shows the magnetic field, which is made in such a way that it doesn't interfere with the radiation beam. So this is the best in class in imaging because it has a very high quality 1.5 Tesla magnet. And we are happy to say that our Linac bunker in CMC, which had the opportunity to house the first Linac, but due to some reasons of possible magnetic interference, we couldn't. But now the B0 measurements have been done and they have passed. So this can take the image guidance to the right, to the other end of the spectrum, giving opportunity to reduce the margins and enhance the doses so that we can have better tumor control. What are the new frontiers in RT? That is particle therapy, which we always think is out of reach for us. But what we thought would be out of reach maybe 20 years ago is conventional treatment now. So it's good to imagine, visualize, and dream for the future. The big difference is the Bragg peak. So you can see here that the radiation dose is deposited at a depth depending upon the energy, and we can make sure that that falls at the region where the tumor is. And this is different from the photon beam, where the high dose is there at the entrance, and this leads to a lot of toxicity to the patient. So an example here, you can see proton therapy, the exit dose is very less, whereas there is a small exit dose in radiotherapy. So how can we make something way out of reach to something more this? There are companies now like PCure from an Israel-based company, which offers a room which is maybe 1/3 or 1/4 of what a conventional photon facility costs, that is around 50 million per room. Currently, what we have is around $2.5 million per machine. And the cost can come down significantly because the room sizes are small. You don't need to have a 360 gantry, which could be up to 7 floors high. So this is an example of how it is. The patient is kept on a robotic couch. A CT comes down, takes the images, and then we can treat the patient on on the port, which is open here for any direction, anterior, lateral based treatments after imaging is done. Flash RT is something which we always think is for the future because it is more than 100 times the dose rate in comparison to flash RT, that is 40 gray per second. Currently, we are 0.1 to 0.4 gray per second. And this will allow for less margin, which means normal tissue toxicity can be much less. And proton therapy and particle therapy can, other particle therapy techniques can bring flash closer to reality. Carbon ion is the probably the highest end of the particle therapy because it's a heavy ion and it has higher linear energy transfer and radiobiological equivalence compared to effectiveness compared to photons and protons. And you can see here that the double strand breaks are more possible compared to other particles and photons that can be used. And you can see the example here also, the X-ray beam, how it comes out, and a single carbon beam can deposit almost all the dose in the level of the tumor. This is the carbon facility at NIRS Shiba, Japan. This is huge. So if proton would cost about 200 million, this would cost $1,100 million. Only. Yeah, and it's huge because you can see for maintenance, the engineers go inside the linear accelerator to do the repair work. But the benefits are there. So glioblastomas, which are quite radio resistant, have responded very well. You can see the one on the top is the before RT and the ones in below are after RT, almost disappeared. And they do give hope for inoperable cancers as well. Little bit on brachy, the Electra Studio imaging ring brings improved control and precision because it is all in one room. So it allows for 3D imaging as well. So the O-ring can be brought in and the patient can be imaged. Then the images can be used for planning and then again positioned to check whether the applicators are in correct place. And then you can continue treatment. So this allows for less uncertainty and more accuracy and better outcomes. Of state-of-the-art TPS, we have actually lots of TPS systems, as Dr. Paul and Selvamani showed. But one of the ones which are more futuristic in nature is the Ray Station. And you can see that it's a flexible system that allows parallel planning of different multiple beam sets. So you can plan for one patient, photons, electrons, protons, helium, and carbon ions, provided you have the technology. And this is something which we always desire to have. Because if you say what is an optimal plan, a plan which will give the best distribution with the best technique, with the best energy, and with the best machine. So this is coming closer to that. And of course, it also reduces the dose to OAS compared to others. And there's a faster treatment time, which allows more patients to be planned and treated. I will skip the thing about machine learning, but this is how it's moving towards. Dr. Balu will definitely say a few words about this. Dose-guided radiotherapy is what we would like to look again. This was talked in the early part of the turn of the century, but then this has to come back because now we have very good motion management systems. We know that the patient is in the correct place, but then what else? Do we know that if the patient is receiving the dose as intended? That is very important. So either the CBCT can be used to calculate the dose, recalculate it, or we can try to reconstruct the dose using EPID. So Perfraction is one of the softwares that we have acquired and we are validating, which we'll hope to soon have in clinical use. And so this will help us to use the log files to find out what dose the patient has received. An example here can see the first CBCT shows the target so big, but then it fails after the 6th fraction because there's been a shrinkage. The R&D side of medical physics, we are grateful to our seniors, Dr. Paul, Dr. Balasingh, for having encouraged us to go for higher studies, to become experts in different fields like small field dosimetry, Dr. Finlay, OSL and Monte Carlo, Dr. Ratna, gel dosimetry, Dr. Ebi, Satish in MOSFET, and myself in EPID. And we are continuing to work on this through with our help with our PG students, and we also assist with the radiation oncology PG projects. And we are fortunate to have Ms. Jennifer Sneha, who helps us in developing software, and especially they're working on online QA and dosimetry under the guidance of Dr. Finlay. Dr. Jose recently completed his PhD, and Abel and Sheba are starting off on their journey. Few words, last few slides. As we think about advanced technology, there's a very important need for certification and accreditation. This is not a new thought. Dr. Paul, Dr. Subhashini worked on Equal Astro with other consultants when we started with 3D CRT and IMRT way back in 2005. And we also had IAEA end-to-end testing when we started with VMAT. So we know that we are on par with international standards. And when we get new machines, we have dose audits to check our dosimetric system, our calibration with postal TLD, RPLD from IAEA and BRC. Even for the new campus, the moment we know that we have got a new machine, they will send us, and we have to do it within a week, and we have all got within 1 to 2%. So standardized protocols are prerequisite for automation and AI, and stringent quality assurance program is important for advanced and newer technology. We are also happy that we had a visit from Dr. Karen Venables, who was one of the, and who led a team of oncologists, came along with a team of oncologists from NHS UK, and to check our compliancy for doing UK trials. And it was declared that medical physics, radiation oncology declared to be compliant so that we can start. And RT3 has started a good talk study for breast patients already. And we are looking forward to have international accreditation for clinical services like for SRS. And for education, we want to go for accreditation with IOMP and CAMPEP. And we started this in during COVID when we had a lot of time. And we ran into some issues, but we are going to continue this and ensure that we have a higher standard, because when we go for higher technology, our resource quality also should be good, manpower. We also would like to start a fellowship in advanced medical physics, and if possible, a postdoctoral program in future. Final remarks, this is the comparative cost of treatment options. So right from telecobalt, which now is around 4 to 5 crores, LINAC 25 to 35 crores, MR LINAC is 50 to 60, and proton beam with a smaller vault is maybe 100 to 200, and carbon nanoi, as I said, is at around 1,000 crores. And this is what we are trying to set our eyes in the near and distant future, MR LINAC and proton. What could be part of the exciting, what could be the exciting part of the future, something we have not seen, maybe holographic imaging. So we move from pixel to voxel to Hogel. So we see that that we need to have maybe 90,000 images to get something virtually seen in front of us. So we will not be using computer monitors. And you can see here that this is how it may be in the future. We don't know. So already people have started using, you need to have a 3D data set, you need to have CT MRI, and we can construct the hologram. And maybe that could be the future, maybe hologram-based contouring, holographic dose distributions, and everything is going to be more virtual in the future. As we march towards a century of innovative technology, uncompromising quality, and compassionate patient care, let us also consider excellence. As the Bible says, let us consider how we may spur one another towards love and good deeds. I'd like to acknowledge our entire medical physics team, our HOD, our oncology team, and our RTTs, and our electrical technicians, without whom we will not be able to manage the machines. Thank you. I now hand over the stage to Dr. Balu Krishna, who will be giving direction of radiation oncology in the future.
Very thrilled to be in the presence of senior professors, teachers, and friends and colleagues. Dr. Thomas has given me this privilege to talk to you about what is present, and then how our future is shaped. So I'll be quick. In the next 10 minutes, I would try to talk to you about service, education, and research in that space. So moving on to service. Let's say the current status, we have 2 campuses which is fully integrated and connected, and we are seamlessly working between 2 campuses with personnel and patients being shared between those. And we have a very strong foundation of staff distributed among clinicians, radiation therapists, and medical physicists, as you see the numbers on screen. We have 3 linear accelerators, 1 tomotherapy, which is cutting edge, 1 cobalt-60, 1 advanced HDR brachytherapy unit, and also adjunct technology like Vishanati and Exactrack. We are a highly skilled and evolved radiation therapy delivery system. We have evolved from IMRT to VMAT, SRS. We have evolved to frameless stereotaxy. SBRT we can offer in respiratory gated, Exactrack guided, or surface guidance based. Surface guidance for breast is now a standard. We are doing open phase mass therapy for head and neck. We have advanced gynecological brachytherapy with advanced applicators. We have soft tissue sarcoma brachy. We are pioneers for TMLI in the country. We have evolved from TBI to TMLI. We have adaptive workflows and hyperfractionated RT regimens. So with this, we are a high throughput center with 240 patients per day. We have a unique space as a department in the country because we are technically advanced. We do our own IP care, managing concurrent systemic treatments and complications. We have 2 daycares, cutting edge quality assurance from physics. We have a TMLI program, which is unique, a seamless brachytherapy suite, as well as an AI lab. These are things that make our department unique as a radiation oncology department in the country. With these services, we know that, and the heritage that we saw, we have reached a level we match the quantity of survival that any cancer center in the world gives. So if we look in the future, the incremental benefit in terms of improving the quantity of life is going to be small because we have reached a level. But that's why we need to take another direction where we are actually focusing on the quality of our survivors. So that is the future that we are looking forward to by improving our technology and adjunct services to focus on quality as we sustain the quantity of life that we give to our patients. So in the immediate future, that is in the next 1 to 2 years, we are looking forward to acquiring 2 linear accelerators. We already have 4 bunkers which are made available. This is possibly going to happen soon. And in the near future, as Timothy said about the technology, we would be envisioning an MR-Linac. We have an MR-Linac compatible bunker at Ranipet campus. The focus of this is to actually adapt to precision, adapt to movements of the body, and to deliver high quality radiotherapy so that the quality of the survivor is much better than what we give at this point. Obviously, in the 5 to 10 years, we would look forward to have a single room proton solution. Herein, again, we are sparing much normal tissue, and then the quality of survival is going to be much higher. So these are our dream projects in the next 5 to 10 years. Along with that, we have other smaller things that we are looking forward to, like 3D printed customized brachytherapy solutions, spacers to improve quality of survival in brachytherapy patients and in prostate EBRT, TMLI with auto segmentation to improve workflows, then intra-op radiotherapy probably in the distant future. These are all technologies that we can propose to acquire. Also, to personalized care, we should be integrating molecular imaging as well as biomarkers, which is currently happening, and we are going to scale it up as you see in the list, and a lot of other projects have been lined up. Brachytherapy services, we need to scale this up. Currently, we have a very advanced gynecological brachytherapy program. I would request people who have not seen to visit our department in Ranipet to see the seamless brachytherapy suite that we have designed. And it is actually a pride for us when people from other departments across the country visit and see how we have designed it and we use it. Soft tissue sarcoma is also working well. Obviously, in the future, we would be scaling up prostate and head and neck brachytherapy services, and we would be also hosting the 2026 IBS Con most likely. So the quality of survival, when you look at, we need to have adjunct services. So we are focusing on neurocognitive function preservation, other methods to improve quality. Radiation oncology, as it evolves, it has to look at adapting the treatment to the change in tumor and the patient, advanced sparing techniques, and also when we treat pediatric patients, we need to be looking at their future. So these are the ways we are looking forward to improve. A prehabilitation model of care is being proposed. We have started that in head and neck cancer, where we have a team team of ENT surgeons and radiation oncologists working together before the patient starts treatment. We have physiotherapists, nutritionists, psychologists, and a clinician dedicated to offer this service in head and neck. And this model is now running for the last few months, and we would be extending it to other sites as our future endeavor. Another important thing is to improve access and workflow, and hence when we moved on to 2 departments, we have started the paperless initiative in 2019, and 2024 Thomas declared our department paperless because we replaced the entire paper-based radiation oncology system to a completely electronic one, which was a huge task. We have all the patient-related EMR and documentation in radiation oncology in a paperless flow. Along with that, we have an e-register which was in-house built by our physicist, which handles all the physics workflows in radiation oncology. And this works in tandem to actually completely transform us to a paperless department. And we were recognized at the CIHSR with an award for this transformation. As we take this forward, what is next for this paperless initiative is to take it to the stakeholders, that is the patients, to integrate them into the system. We need to have language translations. I think half of the work is done by BMIU to acquire this technology, and we would be one of the first departments to pioneer this and then put it to use for patients. Now, looking at the education part of in the future, we currently have a robust education program with MD, MSc, and BSc at various levels. We have PhD for physics and radiation oncology. This year, we started the Maastricht Clinical Data Science PhD program with Maastricht University, and we are also proud to be a training center for TMLI as we evolved from TBI this year. And several clinicians have been trained here, and they have started their own programs across the country. So the future of this is that we would probably, as the country moves on, we would be moving on to DM radiation oncology, and MSc radiation technology is inevitable. We are also an advanced center, asked to be an advanced center for research by Siemens Healthineers. We already have projects with them, and a training center for Vision RT and Brain Lab for the country. We are already a research and development partner for Panacea, which is indigenous linear accelerator developing company. So these are things under education. And when we look at research, I'm not going back to all the clinical research that we are doing. What is unique for us is that we have an AI lab, which was established since 2020, looking at the imaging workflow in radiation oncology, and the focus is on to develop digital biomarkers which would drive our decision making. And this is something which we have achieved. We have a clinical environment as well as a research environment which would seamlessly talk to each other, and we are able to mine data and predict outcome of our patients. So we have a robust collaboration across the world, and they have all been partner of this development. If we look at our AI maturity level, we are at level 3 out of a scale of 5, and we've been awarded the AI Research Award in this CIHSR. So what would be the future of that is to take it a level further by introducing molecular imaging as well as biomarkers into the prediction modeling. And we have already started work with pathology and BMIU to have a digital pathology and pathomics workflow, especially in lung and breast cancer. And we, as a future, would look at a multi-omic model where all this would work together to predict what is right for the right patient. So as we look at the rich heritage of cancer service and being a leader in the country, we brace ourselves to evolve as a cutting-edge radiation oncology department. And when we are focused in saving more lives, we are also trying to make these lives better. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm grateful to our colleagues, Dr. Selvamani and Dr. Paul, for walking us through the rich heritage, and our current generation, Dr. Timothy and Dr. Balu, how we have embraced the present and restless towards the future. And also like to take this opportunity to thank the administration for this privilege and honor on this special occasion for our department. And a special thanks to all those who have joined virtually. And a special thanks to our teachers, Dr. Raul and Dr. Banerjee, for coming and blessing all of us on this occasion. So thank you and have a good day.